Imagine eating the healthiest meal you've had all week. Fresh vegetables, lean protein, foods rich in vitamins your body desperately needs. Now imagine, before your body can absorb any of those nutrients, something else gets there first. It sounds unbelievable. Yet every year, millions of people around the world are diagnosed with intestinal parasites. According to the World Health Organization, parasitic worm infections remain one of the most common infections on Earth, while organisms like Giardia continue to be detected even in developed countries with modern sanitation. Here's what makes them so fascinating. Most people don't picture parasites when they think about everyday health problems. They think about stress, poor sleep, getting older, a busy life. And yet, researchers have discovered that some intestinal parasites may interfere with nutrient absorption, disturb the gut microbiome, and trigger immune responses that extend far beyond the digestive system. Could that explain every case of fatigue or bloating? Absolutely not. But could it explain some? That's a question worth exploring, because by the end of this video, you'll understand the warning signs researchers say shouldn't be ignored, why parasites can sometimes remain unnoticed for months, and why several ordinary foods sitting in your kitchen have attracted scientific attention for their remarkable natural compounds. One of them has been used for thousands of years. Another surprised scientists because of how it may affect certain intestinal worms. And the last one doesn't target parasites at all. It strengthens something even more important, your gut.
Hey everyone, Milo here. Today, we're diving into one of the most overlooked mysteries inside the human body. Let's separate myths from science and discover what researchers are actually finding.
Your body is constantly communicating with you. The challenge is learning which signals belong together. Imagine waking up exhausted. You slept 8 hours. Your blood tests look mostly normal. You drink coffee. But the exhaustion never really disappears. Weeks turn into months. Then your digestion starts acting strangely. Some days you're perfectly fine. Other days your stomach feels swollen for no obvious reason. Maybe constipation, then loose stools, then everything settles down, only for the cycle to begin again. Most people treat each symptom separately. The fatigue must be stress. The bloating must be something they ate. The sugar cravings? Probably just bad habits. But biology doesn't always separate problems the way we do. Your digestive tract is one of the most complex systems in your body. Hidden inside is a surface almost as large as the tennis court. Every vitamin, every mineral, every gram of protein must pass across this enormous surface before your body can actually use it. Now imagine sharing that space with an unwanted guest. Some parasites attach themselves to the intestinal wall. Others compete for nutrients. Others interfere with the delicate lining responsible for absorption. Again, that doesn't mean everyone with digestive symptoms has parasites. Far from it. Conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, celiac disease, thyroid disorders, food intolerances, chronic stress, inflammatory bowel disease, medication side effects, and many other illnesses can produce very similar symptoms. That's why self-diagnosis is never the answer. Patterns are. One symptom rarely tells the whole story. Several unexplained symptoms appearing together deserve a closer look. One clue researchers find particularly interesting is persistent fatigue that doesn't improve despite adequate sleep. Another is recurring digestive changes that seem to follow no obvious pattern. Then there are unexplained nutrient deficiencies. Some intestinal parasites have been associated with reduced absorption of iron, vitamin B12, and other nutrients, either by competing for them directly or by affecting the intestinal lining itself. It's a little like trying to charge your phone with a damaged cable. The electricity is there, the charger works, but less power actually reaches the battery. Your digestive system can face a surprisingly similar challenge. Then comes something many people never connect to gut health. Sugar cravings. Biochemically speaking, these organisms act like energy vampires. They systematically drain your glucose supplies right from your small intestine to fuel their own multiplication. Researchers are also investigating how certain gut organisms may influence communication between the digestive tract and the brain, The science is still evolving, but it's another reminder that your gut influences far more than digestion alone. Then there's your skin. Modern research describes something called the gut-skin axis, the remarkable connection between your digestive system, immune system, and skin. When the gut environment changes, sometimes your skin changes too, not because parasites automatically cause rashes, but because your immune system responds to what's happening inside your gut. And sometimes, the smallest clue is also the one people are least likely to mention: nighttime itching around the rectal area. For doctors, it's one of the classic warning signs associated with pinworm infection. For many people, it's simply too embarrassing to talk about. Individually, none of these symptoms prove anything. Together, they create a pattern. And sometimes, that pattern points toward a question most people never think to ask. Could something inside the gut be quietly disrupting the entire system? If parasites can sometimes remain hidden, why aren't they found sooner? The answer is simpler than many people expect. Most common digestive complaints are caused by far more familiar conditions: food intolerances, irritable bowel syndrome, bacterial infections, medication side effects, stress, or inflammatory diseases are all much more common than parasitic infections. So naturally, doctors begin by looking for the most likely explanation. But if symptoms persist, or several warning signs appear together, the million-dollar question you need to ask right now is this: have you actually been looking with the right lens, or is it time to move a targeted screening to the top of your list? Many people don't realize that a routine stool culture isn't the same as a parasite examination. Some parasites require specialized laboratory testing, and because certain species release eggs in cycles rather than continuously, healthcare professionals may recommend collecting more than one sample when a parasitic infection is strongly suspected. The goal isn't to assume parasites. The goal is to avoid overlooking them when the pattern fits. And in just a moment, you'll discover the everyday foods that have caught scientists' attention for their unique natural compounds.
But let's look behind the curtain. What are these microscopic squatters actually pulling off inside your body's blind spot 24/7? And why can something so small affect how your whole body feels?
That's where things become truly fascinating. Your gut isn't simply digesting food. It's managing one of the busiest ecosystems on Earth. Trillions of bacteria help digest nutrients. Immune cells constantly patrol the intestinal lining. Tiny structures called villi absorb vitamins, minerals, healthy fats, and proteins before they enter your bloodstream. Everything depends on balance. Now imagine that balance being disturbed. Some parasites attach themselves to the intestinal wall. Others consume nutrients before your body can absorb them. Species such as hookworms have been associated with iron deficiency because they feed on blood from the intestinal lining. Others, including Giardia, may damage or interfere with the surface responsible for nutrient absorption. Scientists also know that disturbances inside the gut can influence the microbiome, the enormous community of beneficial bacteria that supports digestion, immunity, and even communication with the brain. In other words, a problem inside your gut doesn't always stay inside your gut. That's exactly why researchers have become interested in certain foods that may help support a healthier intestinal environment, not because they magically eliminate parasites, but because nature has equipped many plants with remarkable protective compounds of their own. The first is garlic. For thousands of years, garlic has been valued in traditional medicine. Modern science has identified one reason why. When fresh garlic is crushed, it forms a sulfur compound called allicin. Laboratory studies suggest allicin shows activity against several microorganisms, including Giardia. Researchers believe it may interfere with important cellular processes inside these organisms.
That's exciting. But it's important to remember where the evidence comes from. Most of these studies were performed in laboratories, not by treating people with garlic alone. Fresh garlic is best viewed as part of a healthy dietary pattern, not as a replacement for proven medical treatment. The second food has an equally fascinating history: pumpkin seeds. For generations, different cultures have used them in traditional parasite support practices. Scientists now believe naturally occurring compounds called cucurbitacins may help explain why. Experimental studies suggest these compounds may temporarily affect the muscle function of certain intestinal worms, making it more difficult for them to remain attached. Then comes one of the most unexpected ingredients: cloves. Inside this small spice is a natural compound called eugenol. Early laboratory research suggests eugenol may influence certain developmental stages of some parasites, making cloves an intriguing subject for future research. The evidence is still emerging, but it's another example of traditional knowledge inspiring modern scientific investigation. Finally, ginger. Unlike the other foods we've discussed, ginger isn't known for targeting parasites directly. Instead, research suggests it may support healthy digestion, normal gut movement, and a balanced intestinal environment. And that's important because a healthy digestive system is naturally more resilient. One final ingredient deserves just as much attention: fiber. It rarely makes headlines, but your beneficial gut bacteria depend on it every single day. Fiber nourishes your microbiome, supports regular bowel movements, and helps maintain the ecosystem your digestive system relies on. Perhaps that's the biggest lesson of all. The goal isn't to create fear, it's to create resilience. Your body has evolved extraordinary defenses: a healthy microbiome, a strong immune system, an intact intestinal barrier. Nutritious food helps support all of them. If you recognize several of the warning signs we discussed today, don't panic, and don't try to diagnose yourself from a YouTube video. Instead, speak with a qualified healthcare professional, describe the pattern you've noticed, and ask whether further evaluation is appropriate. Sometimes, the explanation will be parasites. Often, it won't. But asking the right question is how real answers begin. Your body is constantly communicating with you. Fatigue, digestion, your skin, your energy, they aren't random events. They're pieces of a larger story. The better you understand that story, the better equipped you'll be to protect one of the most extraordinary ecosystems you'll ever own: your gut.